Nico here from the Hyperactive Bookworm. I'm so excited. I have the amazing David Green. Da, 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 da. At least wait. Yes, thank you. And Tim Mendees here as well. Hey guys.
With a flourish.
Thanks so much for joining me again. I've had you both
too
on.
Early in the morning for flourishes.
Well, I'm on my second cup of coffee in my Innsmouth mug. You know, it's Innsmouth fauna. So I'm on brand, as Simone Green would say. I'm on brand.
You're on brand. Excellent.
There we go.
And I have my, skeleton gin.
Nice.
I just have this boring cup. Like, this probably just says a lot about me, really, doesn't it?
You're not a morning person, are you, mate?
I'm not. I'm barely a person in general.
I appreciate you both, doing the whole toothpick eyeball thing going on.
Yeah, it's hard to put my eyeliner on when my eyes were still asleep.
But you look so pretty, Tim.
I have to put on a bit of makeup, otherwise I look like a freshly exhumed corpse. It's
Oh, see, that's also on brand. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
I have some questions for you guys. All right. What's the first impression you had of each other that has subsequently been proven wrong?
Proven wrong.
Proven wrong. Yeah.
Proven wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to make you guys think in the morning and everything.
That's rude.
I thought that Tim was able to write in short sentences and drabbles. I think proven very, very wrong about that.
Very, very wrong with that.
Yeah.
For those playing at home, Tim can't write anything under a word limit.
No, I can't.
I've actually thought of a real one. I actually thought Tim was quite tall.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm a short ass.
He was like over 6 foot tall for some reason.
It's his personality.
No.
6 foot tall.
Personality.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do often wear stacked heels. So, yeah.
I love a guy who's not afraid to wear stacked heels.
Yeah, heels and makeup. I don't care.
What I found out when we met each other is that he doesn't even need to get on his knees to. Anyway, but
well, there you go. I thought he was actually Irish, and he isn't. Even though he says he is, he isn't.
Well, my mum's Irish, so I'm half Irish. But like, I spent I'm 40 this month, and I've spent nearly half my life in Ireland now.
All right. So you sort of, all right. I'll give you an out on that, but you don't sound Irish.
You have met in person, besides realizing that Tim is a short ass. Do you guys remember any more of it?
We went to a restaurant, and the football manager Jose Mourinho was our waiter.
Yeah. He did look dead spit, didn't he?
Which was really strange. No one expected it because he'd just been sacked from the Man United. So
yeah, and he's now working in an Italian restaurant in Bristol.
Yeah, which is weird because he's Portuguese. So like, I don't know why he wound up in an Italian restaurant. But
yeah. No, we met first at BristolCon and then again at EasterCon, and there was a lot of alcohol involved both times, I believe.
You believe, you don't really remember, right? Good.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit of a given. If you get me anywhere that has a bar, there's going to be a lot of alcohol involved. It's just
a lot of gin for Mr. Mendees. No, it was good. I mean, EasterCon was like a 4 or 5 day one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you two actually done a co-write?
No, but there is going to be something that it's not going to be a co-write, but me and Tim are going to be working together in some capacity on Nick Halloran, my next Nick Halloran.
Really?
Yeah. So this is kind of convoluted, but so
I love this.
In the previous Nick Halloran book so far, I keep mentioning like this Dagon cult. Because I had a vague idea to do something with like a Lovecraftian, one of them, to kind of right. So the Halloran series was going to be 5 books, but then Erie River wanted more of them, So I was like,
Blame
well,
Erie. Go on, blame Erie, and not the fact you're a fantasy author.
there was like a full arc that I was like that I'd mapped out, and I was like, this is 5 books, and this is all it will be. And the one that I just written was going to be like end on this big cliffhanger that was going to set up the final 2 books in the series. But then Erie wanted more, so they were like, so I was like, well, I can with the nature of it, I can just do like these one-off kind of adventures and what have you, that's kind of tied to the other thing. So I had this idea about a Lovecraftian one, and so the next one is called Shadow over Haven, and I've not started writing it yet. But what the idea is that so there's this Dagon cult in Haven that's been kind of causing trouble, and the books are open with Nick kind of investigating them, and they're all losing their minds because there's this new Lovecraftian creature that has entered the pantheon out of nowhere, right? And this creature is Tim's god that he created for his books.
Yes!
So Nick's going to get kidnapped and taken to I've not decided where yet, but maybe like Innsmouth or somewhere like that or whatever. And it's actually the real deal where they're kind of like the things happening, and he has to get in touch with Tim. They find out about this god, and they research it, and it comes up with his books, and which is a big deal because like,
oh, this is so Brechtian. I love it.
And so they have to phone up Tim and talk to Tim, and Tim's like, there's going to be a few jokes about why Tim isn't in Cornwall, even though all his books are in Cornwall. And whatever.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
and Tim is going to get killed off, and then Tim's ghost is going to appear in the place where Nick is. So that's going to happen. That's going to be writing that. So obviously, I'm going to be peppering Tim with lots of questions when that's.
Oh my god, that sounds so brilliant.
It does. Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be.
That is brilliant, but I still think you guys need to do a co-write at some point. Of course, you know, you'll decide to do a novella and it'll be 400,000 words with the two of you put together, but it'll be a great series.
Yeah, we haven't done a co-write, but we have done a lot of collaborations. We've done a lot of like for instance, the Nookie Yeah, done a bunch of group stuff, the project together. So yeah,
you and Dave often do group stuff, hey?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done a couple. We probably will at some point, won't we? Probably write something together.
Oh, I imagine we will at some point. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Be very libelous, probably.
There will be a sequel to this as well at some point next year.
Of course there will
which
be.
he's conscripted for. So he's got no option. He's involved whether he likes it or not.
It's this year now, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah, it is this year.
2020. What's a genre you could never see yourself writing?
Well, that's an easy one for me. Romance. It just doesn't work. I've tried to do a romantic, right, and literally I tried in like the first thing I wrote, I tried to do a romantic scene, right? And it ended up like a letter from Razzle or something. You know, that's how my romance goes. And every other time I've tried to do anything vaguely romantic, it just turns into a comedy scene. So that's how I'm getting around that. So I can't imagine me trying to do like a Mills and Boone or paranormal romance or something like that. I could just imagine it. It would just be an utter car crash. Just no. It just comes across as just wooden and weird. It's just like, hi, you have
really
very
just
breasts.
describe a romantic scene with the word wooden?
Yeah.
Wooden and weird.
Wooden and weird. There we go. That's a magazine. That's a magazine title right there.
It's also your middle name as well.
Wooden and weird.
That was tentacles.
No, that's his nickname.
Yeah.
My bad.
His actual middle name is Wooden and Weird. It's an old English spelling.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And what about you?
It's spelled Woodan, you see. Woodan.
And weird with a W, with a Y.
With a Y.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's weird without a W.
Yeah,
it's not weird. What would I not write? I don't know really. Because like I do ghostwriting, so sometimes I have to do some stuff where I'm like, I would never normally do this, But horror, I'd never write horror. No, I don't think I would again, to be honest with you, but not proper like straight up horror. But what would I never ever write again? Or ever write? Probably just something like non-fiction. Just doesn't interest me all that much. Although saying that, if someone was to kind of say like, if someone was like offer me a contract like from a big publisher that was like, like something like this one, which is just handily here, like this Origins of Wheel of Time or something. Someone said to me, "Here's a contract to do something like this." I'd be like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Right. So,
I've done a few essays and things like about weird fiction and things like that. I'm actually planning on doing a longer bit about the Cthulhu mythos in video games.
Yes.
So I'm actually planning on doing something along them lines.
Which book are you most proud of? That's actually already been published.
You want to go first? No, bollocks. Now, so I'm very proud of my both my collections. One of which is still got issues on Amazon at the moment, but one of them is the Pseudopod that Rocks the Cradle. Is very proud of that because that was the end game to start with. That's why I got in so many anthologies, because I wanted to get enough stuff for a collection. Because like, weird fiction, especially, is all very it's all more collections than novels, things like that. So for me, that was the end goal. So I've done that. But aside from that, I think it's got to be that.
Yes. I have to say, of all of yours, that is absolutely my favorite read of yours, Tim.
I think it's just everything like me distilled into one book. Because it's got the body horror, it's got the comedy, it's got the weirdness, it's got tentacles, it's got everything, so yeah, it just came out really well. It's one of those, it had a prolonged gestation period, but I'm really glad of that, because it was the first novella I actually had accepted. But so as because of that, and then it was basically stuck in limbo for like close to 2 years, and because of that, my writing had evolved immensely. So I got to go back to it, and it ended up growing by 20,000 words.
Of course it did. It's the Mendees.
It's like the original version. Jerry the janitor wasn't in the original version at all.
Oh, we need Jerry.
I know, and he's become one of my favorite characters. He's going to get his own little spin-off story at some point, because he's based on a guy that I know. He's based on he's dead now, unfortunately. He was a Brighton character, but he's known as Tony Cash. He was Brighton's premier Johnny Cash impersonator, and he was always on. So whenever you met him, it was like, "Hey man, yeah, so you're cooking up a score, man." It's just like, this is like pint-sized Johnny Cash. He was amazing. So he was my kind of homage, because he was a good friend, and so he was my homage to him. And and he went down really well, and people were like, "Oh, he's a great character." And it's like, yeah, he wasn't in the original draft.
Wow.
So yeah.
I'm so glad that you like got that time to redo it, because I really love that book. It was fantastic.
I really enjoyed yours and Chris's read of it. That was hilarious.
we weren't toasted at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was great fun to watch, because it was like, I'm just watching it and going, "Yep, that was precisely the reaction I wanted." Because basically your main reaction was, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. It was 100%. It was, but it was like, "What the fuck? I need to read this again." Like, yes, it was great.
Yeah, there will be a sequel at some point as well.
Oh, so really? That's brilliant. Yeah. I can see how that's set up, ready.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, it's already set up, ready. It's
yeah.
It's. I just need to actually do it. So I need to basically block off a couple of months to just sit down and do it.
You need to learn the word no.
Yeah.
Say it with me now. No.
No. Yeah. Like that. I'll have to say it like that, but with an Aussie twang.
Yeah. And what about you, David?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know. Proud. What is this word? No, probably. Let's see. what I've published.
You almost got there, man. You almost got there.
Dave,
No,
grab the imposter syndrome and punch it in the face.
let me see.
That's what you need to do.
I have my books right here. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's probably Path of War, which is this one.
Oh wow,
Nice.
look how pretty that looks in hardcover.
Ooh,
That's it.
Oh,
that's very
No,
nice.
the thing about this one is if you take off the thing, there's like a little.
Oh, that's cool.
oh, that still looks beautiful.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not actual real leather or anything.
No.
It's just.
No, but it
just
looks
like
beautiful.
it's like a little thing that's on there. But yeah, probably this one is probably the one I'm most proud of. But yeah, this was tough. It was a tough one to write actually, because it was the first sequel that I wrote.
They
And
are tough. You have that
yeah, they're
expectation
tough.
on you as well.
No, I wasn't really bothered about that because because if people enjoy it, then people enjoy it. That's fine. But like it was just that kind of thing of just doing like an epic fantasy sequel of where it was like it had been by the time this came out, it had been 13 months after the first one had come out. And it was one of those things where it's like the sort of one of the weird things about any series is that sometimes people might skip the first one. The first one is always the one that sells the most, but it's also the one that people skip the most as well. Because some people just go straight into a second one.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to kind of make it kind of standalone enough without slowing down the story that you want to tell. So you have to kind of like organically, and obviously back in the day, people didn't do it quite as organically. They would just be like, "This is what happened in the last book," and you'd have people just tell each
Big
other off.
chunks
yeah,
of
yeah.
text.
Or you'd have that
Info
story,
dumperama. Yeah.
yeah, or you'd have that like story so far thing at the start, and
Yeah.
which
Oh, I remember that. You don't see that anymore, do you?
No,
The
not
story
so
so far. Yeah.
not so much.
They were handy though. Let me tell you, when you've had
They
a
were
long
handy, yeah.
gap
They were handy.
between reading for a series.
Yeah. Some books have like persona dramatis or whatever it is, and I didn't want to do that either. So I was like, kind of like, I'm gonna try and get the But it's funny, someone it was actually voted best book of the year on something the other day because all the reviewers had it as in their top five.
Oh, nice.
And it was the only one that was in each one's top five. And someone on it was like, "Oh, I hadn't read the first one, and I kind of felt like I knew everything about it from that." And I was like, "Oh, that's good because that's what I tried to do." But it took me bloody ages to do it. And there was like a lot of like kind of stuff with the prologue and the first chapter, what was going to be the first chapter, and a lot of changes and things and being taken out. And this was when I was writing it. It wasn't when it went to like kind of development edits or anything. But yeah, it was the book that took me the longest to write out of everything. I think I started writing it in like September 2021, and I think I finished it in the February 2022. And it was supposed to be out in June 2022, and then it was like there was just lots of problems then with the publisher, that just whatever it was, and then it got to the kind of the last minute where it had to be delayed because it just wasn't ready for anything really. Like it was written and everything like that, but it just wasn't ready, so it got delayed by a month at the last minute, which was like kind of annoying. Because you have this like it's been up for pre-order for a long time, and about
shit happens though, doesn't it, mate? I mean,
well, it came out, and then it's like it's done okay, like, and people seem to like it.
Yeah,
I think it's got 4.97 on Goodreads still, like, and but like it's good, and I had to when I started writing the sequel to it, I had to go back and just read it, which is like I hate going back and reading my own stuff. So, but it'd been like enough kind of distance where I hadn't looked at it for a while. I was kind of like, what, this is actually okay. This is like, this is kind of doing whatever I wanted to kind of do with it. I think it's pretty good.
it is.
I was actually going to ask you that, but sorry, just cutting in. because I recently did the third in my Holler Hill cycle. I also did the fourth at the same time. So I've taken the mickey out of David for doing 4-book trilogies, but I've done it myself. But did you have an issue when you were writing, like couldn't, because I was writing it, and obviously because I'd done Burning Reflection about 3 or 4 years ago now, and I'd obviously Boiling Shadow I did like 2 years ago, and I was like, God, I have absolutely no idea what happened. I can't remember what the hell happened there. And so it took me just like a ridiculous amount of time because I was constantly going back and cross-referencing. So did you have any issues with that being such a big thing of like going, right, well, I need to make sure this adds up because somebody might go plot hole.
Yeah. No, like I obviously I went back and reread them, and
Yeah.
I have like quite a lot of notes about.
Well, you are more of a plotter than I am, aren't you?
I'm
So
slightly more, yeah, and like
yeah.
and as the series goes on, it's kind of more kind of plotted, I suppose.
Mm.
So I did have that, but there is some instances where it is like little things that you're like, hang on, how exactly did I
Yeah,
say?
it's all the little things, isn't it? It's just like
Also,
it was like
why
I
did
can't remember what color her sodding eyes are.
Oh
You
my
know,
God,
all
I hate that.
Well,
stupid
I
things,
have
stupid little things like
I have
that.
all that. I have all that in my files. That's one of the things that I have.
Right.
So,
This is
but
why I need to be more organized. I keep thinking
Same.
I'll do a spreadsheet when I start. I don't do a spreadsheet. Yeah.
the thing that
That's Team Potters, let me tell you.
the thing that I more often say to myself is, why did I do this? Because it kind of you make like a kind of decision, and it might only be like a little thing, but then it kind of like really kind of as the series progresses, then it kind of ties you into going in a certain direction. And which is, I suppose, it's why it's good to kind of do a series quickly, because then at least you don't have to dwell over it so much. And
Yeah.
you mentioned before how you kind of change and grow as a writer. Like that definitely happened between the first book in the series and the second one for me, because the first one I'd written over a year before it came out. So I've been writing for nearly 2 years at that point, and I've done the Nick Colleran books, and I've done other things with that and everything, and kind of done a bit of ghost writing, so I'd kind of improved in some areas, I hope. But so you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, why did I do this? Because now I have to do this, and I don't really want to do this, and so you kind of. But I've kind of came up with a few little kind of tricks to kind of help. I try to write quite quickly and get into the zone. So if I get into something where I'm like, I'm not, if I'm referencing something or calling back to something, I'm not 100% sure what it is, and I'd have to go and check. I usually just put like brackets, and I just put description of like, go back to this
Yeah,
thing,
I do that.
bracket,
Yeah.
and then just keep writing. And then when I'm in the editing bit, I can just go back and just be like, yeah, okay, I've got time to go and do this now.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well though, like when you have like alpha readers and beta, I have 2 like alpha readers, and I have like usually 2 beta readers. There are people that know this series better than I do probably at this point, because they've read all of the books, they've seen it all there and everything like that. So if there's something that I've made a mistake in it, or I've not quite done it, they'll kind of flag it.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that because I've worked with the same editor on this series, the Holloway series, Morgan Schaefer. He's a really good editor. Thing is, he's one of those editors that goes and researches things to make sure that I haven't dropped a bollock, because he's pulled me up on things before now, like on really strange things, like how petrol would act when ignited. He was like, it wouldn't actually do that. Yeah, he knows it wouldn't. Yeah, but it wouldn't actually do what you're describing is kerosene or paraffin, not petrol.
And
so
that's
it's
kind
little
of stuff. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that readers get annoyed at.
Exactly. So he's invaluable to me on this series, because he will just go, you do realize that's you're describing this, not that.
It's those kind of like specialist things that you'd be right about, whereas like 99, say 100 people read it and 99 people wouldn't care. That one person would be like, this is my special interest and I know everything about this. This is wrong. Right?
That's why the most research I've ever done was the story on A Wing and a Prayer that I'd had in Erie's It Calls from the Sky, because it starts off in a plane in World War II, and I had to research planes, because there is people out there, but it was only for like one scene, and a very short scene, But I was like, if that's not a Messerschmitt, that's a you know what I mean. Somebody would know what type of guns a Hawker Hurricane would have, you know, or what the fuselage was made of, and all this kind of this. It's like at the minute, because the novel I'm writing at the minute is set in a 1990s leisure centre, so I've had to research bloody swimming pool filtration units and swimming pool filtration systems and plumbing and all this other kind of I've got reams and reams of notes.
I'll save you some work. In 90s leisure centres, there's no filtration services in these.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me again. I will put links down for Mr. David Green and Tim Tentacles Mendees, so that y'all can go and find their stuff. They are brilliant writers. They are crazy human beings. And thank you both so much.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
Weird to get it right. It's Tim Wooden.
Tim Wooden and Weird.
Oh, sorry.
Wooden and Weird.
Tim Wooden and Weird. Oh, hey, it's me again, Neen Cohen, aka the Hyperactive Bookworm. I love being able to talk about books and writing and reading, and I love doing these. However, it does take me time and energy, and any support would be highly appreciated. If you like the videos, please don't be scared to hit like or to comment on them. All subscribers help toward keeping my passion projects going. You can also support me by buying me a coffee, and the link's down below. Thanks, y'all.